right, so it is no secret that Boston has one of the worst commutes in the country. I think you all know that by now. Some people say they'd rather move out of state than actually deal with it.
Aggressive. But the NBC 10 Boston investigators found there may be a silver lining. NBC 10's Ali Donnelly shows us a solution that's simple, cheap, and could get you moving faster.
The tunnels all jammed up. Your stop and go to and from Boston.
If you live here, you're in it. The commute from hell.
Well, I take the 109 here.
Carrie Sullivan laughs because it's all she can do. The Everett woman never knows how long it will take the MBTA bus to slog through traffic and get her to work.
They got to figure it out. They really do.
Everett's the only community bordering Boston that doesn't have a train or subway running through it.
So the bus is it?
The bus is it.
City planner Jay Monty says moving the most people, not the most cars, became the priority. And they couldn't wait for a big state project. So 3 years ago, they got some paint and buy-in from the T and made the area's first dedicated bus lanes down Broadway, the only road into Boston.
So we've been on the bus for 8 minutes.
Right. So that 8 minutes 3 years ago was probably 20 minutes.
Everett is one of the area's fastest growing cities. People pushed out of Boston by soaring housing prices. Mayor Carlo DiMaria says they've got the land to handle the growth, but the streets can't take any more congestion.
But if you really want to build serious housing, like veterans housing, affordable housing, low-income housing, luxury housing, we can't afford any more cars coming to this area. You got to put a reliable transit system in place.
To that end, Everett is leading the charge on what's called Bus Rapid Transit, or BRT. The gold standard puts buses in protected lanes in the middle of the road, with no interruptions between point A and point B.
We're not gold, but we might be silver. I'll take bronze.
To go for the gold, getting people to ditch their cars, Everett's piloting bike lanes out of the road, stoplights that give buses priority, and bus platforms that are raised like a subway to board riders with disabilities, strollers, and other challenges more efficiently.
20 seconds for a stroller doesn't sound like a lot, but do that 5 or 6 or 7 times, you've lost now almost 5 minutes on your bus trip.
Still, there's one very big X factor.
The frequency and operation of the buses.
The team.
The T.
The team.
According to MBTA data, roughly 1 out of every 3 buses shows up late. The T's redesigning the system, promising more buses, more drivers, and better routes, but they can't control traffic. That's pushed communities like Boston, Somerville, Arlington, Cambridge, and Watertown to try their own bus lanes. And the results are good. They've shaved up to 10 minutes off the commute, and where there's a bus lane, ridership is up.
Because the feeling of speeding by stopped vehicles is nothing like it.
Transportation advocate Julia Waller says when you make the bus comfortable, fast, and reliable, people choose to ride it instead of being forced to ride it.
You're no longer what often feels like a second or third class citizen.
Only a handful of cities have bus lanes, and that's a big challenge when you're talking big picture, because they're only as good as far as they go.
The traffic doesn't stop when you get to Cambridge, and it's the same people, so how do we work together across our roadways? Just becomes a challenge, honestly, of political will. Who are we prioritizing our streets? Are we trying to move people, or are we trying to move cars?
Carrie Sullivan, who can't afford a car, hopes it's people.
I feel like everybody would be a little bit happier.
Ali Donnelly, NBC 10 Boston.